Have you ever paused, just before sleep takes you, and truly wondered what is happening to you in that moment? When the eyes close, the body grows still, and the world of sights, sounds, and sensations begins to fade. Where do you go? Is it a kind of small death? And if so, what then is death itself? This question, though ancient, is one that arises naturally in the heart of every sincere seeker at some point on their journey. And it is a question the great master Paramahansa Yogananda lovingly answered for his disciples and spiritual aspirants. Yogananda often spoke of sleep and death as two stages of the same process. He said, "Sleep is the little death, death is the big sleep." Yet, while these words seem simple, their meaning is profoundly deep. Most of us go to sleep every night without ever thinking about what sleep truly is. It is the most mysterious of our daily experiences, for in it, we temporarily lose our awareness of the world, our responsibilities, our worries, and even the ego itself. And every night, we return from this unknown realm with no fear, no sadness. If sleep is a small death that comes with ease, then why does death itself provoke such dread in our hearts? The wise know that both sleep and death are designed by the Creator to offer rest, renewal, and a return to the soul's original state. Yogananda taught that sleep is a temporary withdrawal of life force from the senses, while death is a more permanent withdrawal of that force from the physical body. In both cases, the soul moves away from external awareness, entering a subtler plane of existence. Yet, while sleep returns us to this waking world by morning, death carries us to another realm entirely. It is important, Yogananda would say, to understand these mysteries, not for mere intellectual satisfaction, but to live without fear. When one realizes the truth about life, sleep, and death, one can live more freely, more joyfully, and more consciously. And so today, dear seeker, let us gently and patiently explore this sacred question together. Let us unravel, through the words of Yogananda, what truly separates sleep from death, what unites them, and what wisdom we can gather to guide our own lives from this understanding. Come, let us walk this inward journey together. Every night, as dusk settles and the world grows quiet, you prepare to enter sleep, a state so familiar, yet so mysterious. What truly happens to you when you fall asleep? Where does your awareness go? Paramahansa Yogananda often reminded his disciples that sleep is a profound spiritual phenomenon disguised as an ordinary, daily event. He said, "In sleep, you are freed for a time from bodily limitations, but you are still bound by the subconscious mind." Let's understand this more deeply. When you sleep, the life force within your body, which during waking hours operates through the senses and muscles, begins to retreat. The energy that powers your eyes, ears, tongue, skin, and other sensory organs slowly withdraws inward. The eyes close, the limbs grow still, and the outside world starts to fade like a dream. This isn't just a physical process. Yogananda explained that the vital energy, or prana, which moves through the sensory nerves during waking consciousness, reverses its direction. It flows inward, through the spine, and concentrates in the brain's spiritual centers. In those moments just before sleep, you might notice how your worries begin to dissolve, your attachments to the day's events loosen, and your sense of I, the restless ego, becomes less defined. This is because the mind and ego rest as well. However, in ordinary sleep, the soul is not fully free. It remains partially tied to the body through the steady pulse of the heartbeat and the gentle rhythm of breath. These two forces, breath and heartbeat, act as a bridge, linking your consciousness to the physical body even while your awareness travels inward. Dreams may arise as the subconscious mind continues to play with impressions and memories collected during waking life. Yogananda taught that these dreams are fleeting mental creations, much like clouds passing across the sky of your deeper awareness. Beneath the dreaming state lies the deeper, dreamless sleep, a state where the soul temporarily forgets body and mind entirely. In this dreamless state, Yogananda said, the soul enjoys a momentary touch of its original nature, peace, bliss, and freedom from all worldly entanglements. Though you may not be conscious of it, each night during sleep you retreat from this world and temporarily taste your higher self. The great yogis study this process carefully, for within it lies a map of the soul's greater journey beyond life itself. If sleep is the little death, as Yogananda called it, then what truly happens in the great sleep, the final departure we call death? For many, the very word stirs fear and sorrow, but Yogananda lovingly revealed that death is not to be dreaded. Instead, it is a natural, gentle transition, a homecoming for the soul. Death, he said, is but a door through which man passes into a brighter, freer land. Let us now open this door gently and look beyond it with the eyes of wisdom. When the moment of death arrives, the same process that happens each night in sleep takes place, but more completely. The life force, which moves through the body animating the senses, the heart, and the brain, begins to withdraw. In sleep, this withdrawal is partial, the breath continues, the heart beats, and a silver thread of consciousness remains tied to the body. But in death, this thread is severed. As Yogananda explained, the life force retreats from the senses, the muscles grow cold and still, and the breath, that constant companion since birth, ceases. The heart, which tirelessly pulsed with life's rhythm, quiets. The physical body, once vibrant with motion and expression, lies motionless like a garment laid aside. Yet, the soul, the eternal spark of spirit within, does not perish. It merely slips away from its temporary home. What happens to this soul? It carries with it the subtle impressions of the life just lived, the desires, attachments, and lessons, into the astral world, a subtler realm invisible to the physical eye but described by saints and yogis of all traditions. Yogananda taught that the astral world is made of light and vibration, far finer than the dense matter of this earth. There, the soul experiences a life shaped by its accumulated tendencies and deeds, and when ready, it may return for another earthly life, or, if spiritually advanced, continue ascending toward final union with the infinite. Death, then, is not a punishment or an end, but a necessary release, a liberation from the limitations of the body. Yogananda often urged his disciples to meditate deeply so that they might face death not as a stranger, but as a familiar friend, recognizing in that moment the eternal nature of their own soul, untouched by time, suffering, or change. Now that we have understood what happens when we sleep and what occurs at death, the natural question arises, what is the essential difference between the two? On the surface, they appear remarkably similar. In both states, the senses are withdrawn, the mind grows still, and the outer world disappears from awareness. Yet, Paramahansa Yogananda lovingly explained that one crucial distinction separates them, and understanding this truth dissolves the fear surrounding death. In sleep, though the life force retreats from the senses and conscious mind, it remains connected to the physical body through the vital link of breath and heartbeat. The ancient yogic texts speak of a luminous thread, the silver cord, which maintains this connection between the soul and its bodily form. As long as the breath flows and the heart beats, the soul remains subtly tethered to the body, no matter how deep its sleep or how distant its dreams. Yogananda described this connection as a temporary detachment, The body rests, the mind may wander, but the soul can still return at any moment. Indeed, every morning you awaken and find yourself re-anchored in this physical world, resuming your roles, responsibilities, and identity. Sleep rejuvenates the body and mind, but it does not sever the bond between the soul and its earthly dwelling. Death, however, is a deeper, more permanent withdrawal. At the appointed time, the breath, that constant companion since birth, halts. The heart's tireless beating slows and stops. The life force, having completed its journey in that particular form, recedes completely, and the silver cord is cut. The soul is freed from the limitations of the body and, no longer able to return to that same physical shell, moves onward to subtler realms. Yogananda would remind his disciples that sleep is a rehearsal for death, teaching us how to let go of the body, the senses, and the ego. The perfect yogi, he said, learns through deep meditation to consciously enter and exit this withdrawn state, ultimately mastering the transition from this world to the next without fear or confusion. He beautifully expressed, sleep rejuvenates the body, death liberates the soul to its next station. In understanding this key difference, we gain not only wisdom but courage, for we realize that the passage of death is nothing to be feared, but rather a journey into a greater life that awaits beyond this fleeting world. It's curious, isn't it? Every night we willingly surrender to sleep without a trace of fear. We close our eyes, drift into a state where our identity, responsibilities, and even our awareness vanish, and yet, we embrace this state gladly. But mention the word death, and even the bravest hearts tremble. Why is it so? Paramahansa Yogananda, with his deep understanding of the soul's journey, spoke often of this very mystery. He explained that the difference lies in familiarity and awareness. We have known sleep since the day we were born. Night after night, we have entered its quiet embrace, and morning after morning, we have awakened again to life. Our subconscious mind is accustomed to the rhythm of sleep and waking, and so we do not resist it. Even though sleep is a temporary death to the outer world, we trust it, because we have always returned. Death, however, appears as the unknown. It seems final because, in our ordinary awareness, we do not remember our past departures and returns. Yogananda taught that the soul has died and been reborn countless times, yet in each life we forget the journey we've made. This forgetting is a gift, meant to help us live fully in the present life without the burdens of countless past experiences. But because we do not recall what lies beyond, we label death a fearful mystery. Yogananda also reminded us that the fear of death comes from attachment. We cling to our possessions, our relationships, our bodies, and our familiar surroundings. Death threatens to strip away everything we have grown attached to. The ego, which identifies so deeply with the body and the roles we play in this world, fears its own dissolution. But the soul, the eternal witness behind the play of life and death, does not fear. Through meditation, Yogananda encouraged seekers to enter the silent space beyond breath and thought, where the soul tastes its immortality. In those sacred moments, one realizes that death is but a doorway to greater freedom. He would often say, "Only the body dies, the soul cannot perish." When this truth is felt, not merely believed, the fear of death vanishes like a shadow before the morning sun. Thus, while sleep is familiar and death seems unknown, both are servants of the same cosmic law, to withdraw the soul from outer involvement, whether temporarily or permanently, so it may remember its eternal nature. This is a question Yogananda loved to answer, and he did so with a smile, for the answer is a beautiful one. Can we, while still alive, experience that which people call death? Not in its final bodily sense, but in its deeper spiritual meaning? Yogananda assured us that yes, through the sacred art of meditation, it is not only possible, but it is the highest purpose of human life. You see, dear seeker, what we call death is the withdrawal of the soul's awareness from the body and senses. In death, this happens involuntarily when the life force leaves the body. But through deep meditation, we can consciously direct our awareness inward, withdrawing it from the outer world, the body, the breath, and even the restless mind. This is known in the yogic tradition as pratyahara, the inward turning of the senses. Yogananda often taught that the perfect yogi learns to practice a conscious death each day in meditation. When one sits still, closes the eyes, calms the breath, and silences the mind, something miraculous happens. The senses cease to pull the attention outward, the breath slows, and the little self begins to dissolve. In those sacred moments, the meditator experiences a state where the body is forgotten, the world vanishes, and what remains is pure awareness, untouched by time, form, or fear. He explained that this state is not an absence, but a presence, the living awareness of the soul itself. In those moments, the meditator tastes the very freedom that comes after physical death, but without leaving the body. It is a rehearsal for the final transition, a way to learn mastery over the forces of life and death. Yogananda called this experience samadhi, the ultimate union with spirit, where the soul realizes its oneness with the infinite. Even short glimpses of this state free a person from the fear of death, for one comes to know by personal experience, I am not this body, nor this restless mind. I am eternal consciousness, ever existing, ever conscious, ever new bliss. Thus, while most souls must wait for death to glimpse the beyond, the yogi seeks to awaken to it while still in the body, conquering death through wisdom, devotion, and daily inward communion with the divine. Having walked together through these truths, dear seeker, the question now gently rises, what can we truly learn from this understanding of sleep, death, and the eternal nature of the soul? Paramahansa Yogananda would say, everything. For the one who knows the mystery of life and death holds the secret to fearless, joyful, conscious living. The first lesson is this: you are not the body, nor the restless thoughts that fill the mind. Both sleep and death teach this truth daily, though most pass through them unconsciously. Every night, you release the world, the ego, the burdens of the day, yet you remain. Something watches the dreams. Something rests in deep sleep when no thought or image moves. That something is you, the eternal soul. Yogananda lovingly urged his disciples to meditate upon this, for in realizing it, all fear, all grief, and all attachment begin to loosen their grip. Secondly, this understanding shows us that death is not an enemy, but a transition, a necessary step in the soul's long journey toward freedom. Just as a tired laborer needs rest at night, the soul too needs the rest of death after the toils of a lifetime. And just as morning always follows night, so too new life follows death. The wise see death not as an end, but as a doorway back into the light. Thirdly, Yogananda taught that through meditation and inward silence, we can master the little death of sleep and prepare for the great transition of death itself. By consciously withdrawing the senses in breath and meditation, we experience the state beyond body and mind while still alive. Even a moment's experience of this brings unshakable peace. One no longer fears death, for one has already crossed its gate and returned. And finally, this wisdom teaches us to live fully, wisely, and kindly. If life is temporary, if death is certain, then let us fill these fleeting days not with petty worries or selfish desires, but with love, understanding, and a deep search for truth. Yogananda would remind us, live in the world, but be not of it. Remember always the eternal nature of your soul. And so, dear friend, in knowing sleep, we understand death. In knowing death, we discover life's deeper purpose, to realize our immortal nature and return, at last, to the infinite. And so, dear soul, we come to the end of this inward journey, not to an ending, but to a new beginning within you. Today, we have gently unwrapped the ancient wisdom that reveals sleep and death as kindred experiences. Both are gateways through which the soul temporarily withdraws from the world of matter, one briefly, and one completely. If you reflect deeply on this, you will see that life, in all its joy and sorrow, is a passing play. Yogananda would often remind us, this world is a school where we come to learn important lessons, and when the lessons are complete, we move on to the next classroom. Understanding the nature of sleep and death frees us from the chains of fear and makes us conscious travelers on this sacred journey. What you may have once seen as terrifying, death, can now be viewed with calm acceptance, and even reverence. It is not a cruel ending, but a doorway to new experiences, to greater light, and ultimately, to eternal union with the infinite spirit. And sleep, that gentle nightly retreat, can become a conscious, peaceful surrender where we practice letting go, trusting the deeper wisdom of life's rhythms. I encourage you, dear seeker, to take these truths not merely as ideas, but to experience them for yourself. Begin with simple meditation each day. Sit quietly, close your eyes, watch your breath, and withdraw your senses inward. Taste that silence beyond thought, beyond breath. Even a few minutes daily will transform your understanding of life, sleep, and death. And if you found peace and clarity through this message today, I warmly invite you to journey deeper with us. On this channel, we explore the timeless wisdom of the ancient sages, the truths spoken by Yogananda and other realized masters, and how they can beautifully transform our modern lives. So if your heart feels called, do subscribe to this channel, and gently click that bell icon so you'll be reminded when new insights are shared. And I would love for you to share your thoughts in the comments. What does death mean to you now? How do you experience sleep? Have you ever tasted that blissful silence and meditation? Let's grow together in wisdom and peace. Until we meet again, dear soul, walk gently, live consciously, and remember, you are not this body, not this fleeting life, but the immortal light behind it all. Om Shanti. Peace to you.